Praise the Lord, brothers and sisters. Today I'm going to discuss with you about how to defeat fear. In Bible, it's written that in Corinthians 2, 20:17, it's written that you shall not need to fight in this battle. Take your position, stand still, and see the deliverance of Lord with you. All of us face various kind of battles in our lives. No one escapes problem and challenges, which we often call the storms of life. The good news is that God already knows what He will do when we face difficulties. He has a plan to bring us victory. We do not need to fight our own battle because our battle belongs to the Lord, not to us. All we need to do is to take our position and remain in them until our breakthroughs come. And what is that position? Unless we have a strong faith in God, anytime a storm comes into our life, the first thing that happens is that we lose our peace and begin to feel fear. Our enemy, Satan, inject what if it doesn't happen. Lot of thoughts come into our mind, he feed in our head, and we often begin to think we will have the worst possible outcome. The enemy is trying to keep us from going forward in God's will and experiencing His good plan for our lives. God wants us to be totally free from fear, because you know that He doesn't give us the spirit of fear to us. He doesn't want us to live in torment. He doesn't want fear to stop us from confidently doing what He leads us to do. When we have a deep understanding of God's perfect, unconditional love for us, we realize He will always take care of everything that concerns us. That knowledge eventually delivers us from fear. As we gain experience with God and see that He always take care of us and provide what we need, we begin to relax. In Bible 1 John 4:18 is written that there is no fear in love, but full grown. Love turn fear out of doors and expel every trace of terror. For fear brings with it the thought of punishment, and so he who afraid has not reached the full maturity of love. So, my dear brother and sister, you have to feel that love, that God's love. You have to reach that point where the maturity of love is there. God moves on our behalf when we focus on Him instead of our fears. Thoughts or feeling of fear are nothing more than the uh, enemy attempt to distract us from God and His will for our lives. We may feel fear at various times in our lives, but we can trust God. And if we need to do something, even though we will feel afraid, we can do it. When we feel fear or begin to have fearful thoughts, the first thing we should do is pray. Pray about everything and fear nothing. We should set ourselves to seek God until we know we have overcome our fears mentally and emotionally. As we seek God, we are focusing on Him instead of our fears. We worship Him for who He is and express our appreciation for the good He has done, is doing, and will continue to do. God has a new opportunities and great things in store for us. To receive them, we will need to take a step of faith that often means doing things we don't feel like doing, or um, may not even think will work it out. Our trust and reverence for God must be greater than what we think, want, or feel. The enemy bring all kind of storms into our lives. He also try to use fear in many different forms to keep us from experiencing everything God has for us. Even though we may feel fear, we need to focus our attention on God. He has a battle plan for us, and He will give us courage and faith to receive the peace, victories, and blessings He has for us. If our lives are filled with plenty of praise for God's mighty acts and worship for who God is, we will see Him fight for our battle for us, and we will experience joyful victories.